Hello, everyone. Can everyone please confirm if you can hear me? Maybe just on chat. Can you all hear me? All right, great. Well, thank you for joining. For those of you whom I haven't spoken with before, my name is Fadl Al Tarzi. I'm the founder and CEO of Nexford University. I've dedicated some time today to talk to our learners and prospective learners from across the world. I'll be dedicating the time entirely to answering your questions. I'm happy to start with any of the first questions. If any of you would rather ask your questions verbally, just indicate that on the chat, and we can pass on the right to speak. Let's get started. I see we have Ola, who just joined us from the Nigeria office, and Sally as well. I see you have participants who've raised their hands. I'm allowing you to talk. Would you prefer to, if anyone would like to talk as opposed to chat, just indicate that on the chat and we will give you the options to talk. All right, so let's start with the first question. How credible are Nexford University degrees? I'm going to answer that. Can you all see the question? So how credible are Nexford University's online degrees compared to the ones earned through traditional campus-based programs, especially in an African setting like Nigeria? So a question we get quite often, as you can imagine. I mean, I would say to start with, the Nexford degrees are designed for those who really value skills over kind of quality stamps and traditional government regulations, such as local accreditation, for instance, in Nigeria. In other words, when we designed the programs from the beginning, we designed them in a way that prioritizes delivering the skills that employers are looking for above everything else. And second, in a way that prioritizes affordability over profitability. So the simple answer to your question is, as a university, Nexford is licensed just like a traditional campus-based university. So it's the same quality standards that we're held accountable to and that we're measured against in Washington, D.C., where we're based. There's no difference between an online university and a traditional university in the US when it comes to licensing. So again, we're held by the same exact standards. When we compare it to traditional campus-based programs in an African setting like Nigeria, it's difficult to generalize in terms of all the universities in Nigeria. However, what I can say is, before starting Nexford, or ahead of launching Nexford, we definitely analyzed and studied all of the alternatives in Nigeria. And it's one of the reasons we decided to target Nigeria, is because we found a void in the market. So in our view, there's a significant gap in the market in Nigeria when it comes to high quality yet affordable universities. When we looked at the market there, we found that the vast majority of universities are teaching material that's no longer relevant to what employers are looking for. And that's creating a significant contribution towards the unemployment challenge that exists. I would say that's my answer to your question. So I see there's someone that wants to speak about their question, Theodore. So let's allow you to do that. Meanwhile, let me answer this other question. I see NXU has become an AACSB member. Is NXU currently pursuing AACSB accreditation? What stage is NXU in now? And how long will the process take? So yes, so we are a member. To become AACSB accredited, you need to be operating for a minimum of 3 years. So we launched in February of 2019, which means we would only really be eligible for full accreditation by 2022. So we're in very early stages still as far as AACSB. Having said that, we are pursuing other accreditations, and I see there's another question about DIAC. So we are in the process of getting DIAC accredited right now. our application got accepted by DIAC about 2 months ago. So I'd say we expect to get accredited by DIAC in Q1 of 2021. So Q1 of next year, and that enables us to become nationally accredited in the US. AACSB and others like IACBE are programmatic accreditors that we will be pursuing as we become eligible for them. But again, I mean, and while this is sort of a controversial answer, I think accreditation is not synonymous to quality. So I want to be, clear with that. There are many, many universities in the US that are accredited, however, are delivering education that's outdated and that's resulting in graduates, remaining unemployable. So what I would urge everyone to do is really to focus on the programs, the quality, the outcomes, the topics that we're teaching, the feedback from existing learners above accreditation. I think once you know that there's a basic level of licensure and accreditation, which we have, as an American university, that shows you that the university is credible. What you should then focus your attention on really is what is this university actually teaching, as opposed to what stamps do they have from different governments. Because again, there's no shortage of accredited universities in the world, but there is a shortage of high quality and affordable programs. If there wasn't a shortage, we would not have launched. I wouldn't have launched Nexford. The only reason I launched Nexford in the first place is because there is this significant shortage in the marketplace when it comes to high quality yet affordable education. So I believe that answers the DIAC question as well. All right, let me just enable. So Theodore, your talking is permitted now. So Theodore, would you like to ask your question? You wanted to ask it verbally.
Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you, Theodore. Go ahead. Okay. I think you've muted yourself. So let me continue maybe with another question. So I see, what bachelor degree courses do you offer? I think that's on our website. You can see we offer a bachelor in business administration, and it includes multiple different specializations. All of these specializations were built based on the skills that are in highest demand by employers. So I suggest you check our website, nexford.org, to see the courses that we offer, and take a look at the specializations, specifically all quite hot topics. I think Theodore is back. Would you like to ask your question?
Yes, can you hear me now? Much better?
Go ahead.
My question was to know about the virtual campus. Now, Nexford, people are graduating already. We've seen some people posting, graduating. So I would like to know where we can view the progress, like how many graduates in 2020, 2019. That also makes sense to have for a virtual campus, like for us students. Where can we view our progress? Where can I check my name? Most of employee friends will say, I need to check online to see where you are studying, or universities online, where I can go with my ID and see where I am enrolled and where I am with Nexford. That's one. Second is about, I don't know, I don't know if Nexford is aiming also to have like the finance specialization, financial management services specialization in the future.
All right.
And the question is, our license in District of Columbia is due to expire in November. So how is it going to be done? Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so we have 3 questions. So the first one is about graduates. So where can we read about Nexford graduates? So to be clear, we launched in 2019. So we didn't have graduates in 2019, but we have graduates in 2020. I've posted a link on chat to our blog where you can read about some of the most recent graduates from this summer. And I encourage you all to check the website. and you can contact us at help@nexford.org, and we can link you with more information on our graduates. I'm not sure I understand the virtual campus question exactly, so maybe feel free to put that on chat if you don't mind, Theodore. The last question on the finance specialization. So we don't currently have a plan for finance specializations. We do have a number of finance courses, however, but the way we come up with our new programs is based on two main factors. One is where is there demand from learners, and the second is where is there demand from employers. So by registering your interest in a different program, that is factored into how we decide which new degrees to come up with. So if anyone is interested in a program that doesn't currently exist, the best option for you would be to email help@nexford.org and say, I'm interested in this program. Please let me know when it's launched. We will then add you to a wait list and you'll get notified when the program launches. I think I've answered all your questions. If not, feel free to please type in any others. I'll just go in order. I see a question about, I want to know more about free energy. I'm not sure I understand what that means, so please clarify your question. Next is, will I get my degree at the end of my course? Yes, I mean, if you pass your course, you will get your degree. If you're taking a single course, you're not going to get a degree at the end of the course. If you're taking just a single course, you're going to get a certificate of completion when you complete that course. However, if you're taking a degree program, then yes, you'll get a degree. You'll get a digital copy as well as a hard copy when you complete the course. How credible is Nexford qualification when it comes to immigration in US and Canada? So, again, the qualification really, or the level of credibility will depend on who's using the degree or who's looking at the degree. From our perspective, what we can commit is that you will be able to attest your degree at the State Department in the US, and therefore once it's attested there, you'll be able to notarize it for use in any country, anywhere in the world. In the US in particular, there are different levels of accreditation. So there's regional and then there's national accreditation, and most employers will tend to look at these highly. So when they're looking at graduates of a university, they will look at whether that university is accredited or not. And like I said, Nexford is on track for national accreditation. Our application has been accepted and we are on track to complete national accreditation early next year. More importantly, however, and this has been partially sort of accelerated by COVID, employers will always prioritize skills and qualifications over the accreditation of your college degree. So again, I would focus on making sure you've actually developed the skills that employers are looking for. That's how employers will actually judge the quality of a degree. What about your alumni? So yes, so I just posted a link on chat, which I can post here again, that has examples of some of our most recent alumni. I think you could take a look at that. You could also take a look at LinkedIn to see examples of who our alumni are. All right. So let's take the next question. So do you have any scholarships available for Nigerians? We have scholarships. There's a section on our website under tuition called scholarships. So any scholarships we have will be listed there. All right. Again, if anyone wants to ask your questions verbally, please just indicate that on chat. I see Patrick, you have your hand raised, so I'm allowing you to talk. Patrick, you can go ahead and ask your question if you'd like. Patrick Claudius.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My question is regarding the BBA. I want to know if it can be used to apply for MBA in any universities across the world. And if one is doing MBA, can it be used to apply for PhD in any universities across the world? That's number one question. So the second question is, in Nigeria, for instance, we usually have the National Youth Service called NYC. So I want to know if after finishing the BBA, for someone who is still within the age range of national service, if it's possible to still serve with the MBA, with the BBA, sorry. And although for now, from the information I got from your representative in Nigeria, I was told that it's not possible. I want to know if there is any plan towards that aspect.
Sure.
So those are my questions.
Thank you, Patrick. Great. All right, so to answer the first question, can I use BBA to apply for a master's or MBA in other universities across the world? The answer is yes. Now, different universities will, of course, have different admission criteria. Having said that, the vast majority of universities across the world, should have no issue accepting BBA graduates from Nexford, especially since by the time you complete your BBA program, and even if you're super fast, it's going to take 2-3 years, we will definitely have completed multiple additional levels of accreditation. So yes, actually, there should be no issue in BBA graduates getting accepted into master's or MBA programs at other universities. What I can say, however, is once you finish your BBA at Nexford, you're unlikely to go to another university if you want an MBA. You're most likely going to come back to Nexford to get your MBA there. So other than that, I say in terms of MBA to apply for PhD, so generally PhDs tend to require a master's as opposed to like a master's in something related to the PhD program, unless you're referring to DBA. So if you're intending to get a DBA after your MBA, then yes, you'll be able to use the MBA as well. I would say any level of risk that exists today that the university isn't accepting the MBA credential will go down very significantly once we complete our national accreditation process, which we're in the process of completing now. I see some other people that have raised their hands, so let me allow. So Rosemary, would you like to go ahead? Rosemary? You're on mute.
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I wanted to find out, can I use my diploma as NCE result to come in for 200 level for educational, same educational course for a degree?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm not sure I understand the question exactly.
Okay. For someone that has already obtained NCE,
Okay. Yes.
that's National College of Education certificate.
Okay.
From a reputable school and a good result. Can that result be used to start from 200 level, just the way it is done in our Nigerian universities?
You mean at the BBA level, at an undergraduate level?
Yes, that's as a degree level.
Yes.
First degree level.
Yeah, sure. All right. Thanks for that, Rosemary. So the answer is right now, we actually don't allow transfer of credits into the bachelor program, if that's what you're asking about. However, it's definitely something that we're launching. I would say by Q4 of this year, we will have launched a credit transfer program. So people that have either a 1 or 2 year degree or diploma from other schools can transfer those credits into our bachelor program and not have to start from scratch. But I see we have some Nexford team members on chat who are answering some of the more specific questions that need like an admissions or local enrollment officer. You can contact them. I see they're posting their information on a chat. I missed one earlier question, sorry, about NYSC in Nigeria. So right now, NYSC will issue either an exclusion certificate or another type of certificate which the team can put on chat. I forget what it's called. So you don't actually do the NYSE service. You get the exemption certificate or the exclusion certificate once you graduate from Nexford. That's the current process that my understanding is adopted in Nigeria. I know that Olamidun, who runs Nexford in Nigeria, is in active communications with both NYSC as well as NUC to continue building, better relationships with them. So I expect to have more updates on that as well. I see someone else has raised their hand. So Adiboli, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing your name, but please go ahead if you'd like to ask a question.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good evening. My name is Adibowali Afolabi. And I would like to find out, do you have a waiver for English language tests for any master's program or for English language, for English speaking countries, especially in Nigeria?
Yes.
Do you have a waiver, such as for those English tests, such as TOEFL,
Yes.
IELTS, and Co?
Thanks for your question.
You're welcome.
So yes, so we have multiple ways of assessing English proficiency. One of them is a test that we have on our website. You'll see it on the admissions page, the English First test. So you can take that test, and if you achieve the minimum score, then you'll get accepted. But there are also other options, such as showing that you've already gone to a school where the primary language of instruction was English. So if you went to a high school where the language of instruction was English, or a university prior to Nexford where the primary language was English, then you'll be exempt from taking any English assessments. Obviously, TOEFL is accepted as well as other assessments. However, we have included some that are free because some people have difficulty in affording TOEFL. So let me go to the next question. Jumoki, you can go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Jumoke Akinyele. So I posted my question in the question segment, but I think you skipped it. So I have two questions, basically. The first one is for the MBA, what's the model for teaching? Is it case studies based? That's the first question. Then for the second one, I wanted to ask, so I have a degree in English, which is not basically a business related course. And then I just applied for the MBA. But then I have other degrees, like I have a professional diploma in digital marketing. I also have a certificate from Lagos Business School for a senior management program. So I wanted to know if those can qualify me for the full admission for the MBA, rather than having to go through the foundational courses before then going fully into the MBA. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the answer is most probably yes. Our admissions team would need to look at your specific application. But just generally, let me explain the Nexford philosophy. And that's part of how we think we're different from other schools, is that we try to apply logic to any rule that we apply. So we don't apply a rule just because all other universities have that rule. So, our logic is if someone has studied something relevant to business in the past, or, they have diplomas or certificates, or they've worked for many years, then we should be able to waive the foundation courses. The foundation courses are there to ensure your success. They're not something, that we've imposed for no good reason. So the foundation courses are there to show you and the faculty that you have the skills necessary to go into the core MBA program. So if there's another way to prove that same thing, then by all means, our admissions team will accept that. So, in simple terms, my answer to you is yes. Go ahead and apply, submit your CV, submit any other education you have, and it will be assessed. I would add to that we're actually about to launch an assessment that would also enable you to waive the requirement for the foundation courses. So we've developed our own assessment, which is an authentic assessment that you'll take. It's an original project that you would create, somewhat similar to a business plan. And you're allowed to take that assessment, submit it, and again, if you achieve a passing grade, then you can waive your foundation courses by virtue of that assessment. So that's going to go, it's being piloted right now, and it's going to be live, I would say, to everyone in about a month or two at latest. To answer the second part of the question, which is, what is the teaching model at NXU? Is it case studies? So The teaching model definitely includes a lot of case studies. An average course is going to include some reading material, a lot of reading material, some videos to watch, a lot of case studies, and a lot of scenario-based work. So the idea is to try to mimic what you would apply in the workplace as much as possible within the learning environment. So everything you're going to be learning is going to be directly applicable to the workplace. The scenarios and the case studies are all going to be real. You're not going to be learning about fictitious companies. And the assessments that you need to complete are all going to be assessments representative of work that you would do in the workplace as well. So, we had some essays, to be entirely honest, and these are being phased out completely. So I'd say within a month or two at latest, there will no longer be any essays within Nexford because employers don't ask you to write essays. So it's not an effective way to measure someone's competence or competency. So the assessments that you would complete would be, for instance, creating a marketing plan, creating a strategy, making a decision between two different difficult scenarios. How do you expand to a new market? Assessing the viability of launching a product. So these are examples of the sorts of work that you'll be doing. But the other thing I should clarify, which is different from traditional educational models, is that Nexford requires you to do the work as opposed to you sit there, listen to an instructor speak. So we don't believe in the live lecturing model. We have webinars, and you can also book office hours with your faculty anytime, but we believe that science has proven the way you learn is by doing. It's not by sitting and listening to someone speak in a classroom for an hour. So you need to be very proactive to succeed at Nexford. The courses are demanding and require that you actually read yourself, analyze yourself, do research yourself, and submit a lot of work throughout your courses to prove that you've really mastered the competency. And again, that's because employers care about what? They care about what you know how to do. They don't care about what you know. They're two very different things. So by just sitting and listening, that doesn't show us that you've actually proven you know how to do things. All right, let me pass it on to Perez Harrison. Want to go ahead and ask your question? Perez?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Perez. I'm from South Africa. My question is, if you're applying for internship in any organization, now, how are they able to check that you are truly attending that varsity? Because they definitely ask you your university, your current university. How can the admission team in that organization check to confirm that you are attending Nexford? How can they do that?
Sure. Thanks for that question. So the easiest way would be to contact our registrar and verify that this is an active learner. Our registrar would easily be able to verify that information. Having said that, we're also allowing soon options for learners to export their own transcript, which then they can share with an employer. And the last is the badges. So if you've earned a badge at Nexford, then when people click on that badge, they'll be able to verify the authenticity of the badge. So all the badges you earn are actually live badges, so people will be able to see whether they're authentic or not. All right, another question from Anodzi. Go ahead, please. Anozi? All right.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, go ahead, we can hear you.
Yeah, I want to find out about this program. If they have the live sections for the videos, like maybe you can do a playback or something, like, or it's just like live videos, like live chat that people can just come to relate to later. I don't know if you understand me. Like for the lectures, are they just videos that we will need to watch as students, or
Sure.
we'll have some live sections where we can interact with the lecturer.
Sure. All right. Thanks for the question. So, so the courses within Nexford have reading material and have videos within them. The videos, however, are not videos of faculty speaking. The videos are curated videos, so videos that we've sourced from different publishers across the world. For instance, it could be a case study, of a marketing team in Pepsi or Coca-Cola, or a TED Talk. Some of it is licensed, some of it is actually just sourced from different open video channels. And they're integrated within your courses. What we've also integrated is videos from all of LinkedIn Learning. So every course is going to have material from LinkedIn Learning integrated within the Nexford course at no additional cost to Nexford learners. Now, the last part is the live lecture, which is you're asking about. We call that webinars. So yes, we have webinars which are live with our faculty. Attendance of those webinars is optional. And if you're not able to attend the webinar, then you'll be able to view the recording of the webinar. However, again, the idea is we don't teach through just live lecturing. The courses are designed in a different way to that, in a way that's more proactive and requires you to read and do research and submit original assessments, as opposed to listening to a lecture the way you would in a traditional classroom. Let me answer some questions from chat. So we have one: when you take BBA in Nexford, how many years is that degree? So the Nexford programs are competency-based. What that means is you can finish as fast as you want. And as you know, the pricing is monthly. So given that you're paying a monthly fee, what that means is the faster you finish, the less you're gonna pay for the total cost of the degree. Having said that, the average completion period for a BBA, I'd say, is about 36 months. However, like, you can finish it faster and you can finish it slower. Someone else said, okay, will you offer other degrees besides business majors in the future? Yes, definitely. We're going to launch new degrees. Every year we'll be launching new degrees. And the next are going to most likely be technology related. Data science and technology management degrees are coming up. Let me allow Anozi to ask your question. Go ahead, Anozi.
Yeah, what did you say?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you answered my question.
Okay, great, thanks. All right. All right. So Nicole asked, will I really graduate with an American diploma? If so, how can I use this to my advantage if I want to work in the US? So, the answer is yes, definitely it's an American diploma, because Nexford is an American university. Using it to your advantage to work in the US, I say it's all about the skills that you'll have gained. And ultimately, employers in the US will care more about that versus, whether your diploma is American or British, for example. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot more to say on that, other than, employers care most about what skills have you gained through that degree that you've obtained. If you're talking about immigration, that's a different issue. Having a diploma or a degree from an American university will help us with immigration, if that's what you're talking about. We have another question on, do you have any scholarships for master's program available? Yes, so if you go to the tuition section on our website, there's a scholarship section there where you'll be able to see any open scholarships. Let me take another question from I think it's Ligiomo. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Probably am.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Ijoma Ozibo. My question is this: you already touched a part of it. On LinkedIn every day, I get to see people displaying their badges. And then my question is, what is it that makes them get those badges? What is expected of me to get a badge in Nexford? What do I have to do to get my own badge? That's my first question. Then the second one, you touched a part of it as well. if I decide to take 2 courses simultaneously, does that mean I'm going to pay less? But I think you already touched it, because you mentioned you pay less when you can if you take more. So I'm wondering, does that mean I'll pay less? So those are the 2 questions I have. 1, how do I get a badge? 2, if I decide to take two courses simultaneously, does that mean my tuition fee will reduce? Thank you.
Thank you. Good questions. So the first is on badges. So badges are issued upon successful completion of certain courses. So while you're enrolled, you're automatically going to get badges for certain courses when you complete them. Badges are not issued for all courses. There are only a certain number of courses that have badges associated with them. In addition to badges, you're also going to get a certificate. So if you're enrolled in a bachelor program or in our MBA program, what happens is the badges stack up into certificates and the certificates stack up into the degrees. So while you're earning your bachelor degree, for example, you're actually going to earn about, I think, 10 different credentials at no additional cost. So you're going to get badges, and then you're going to get certificates, and then you're going to get an associate degree, and then you're going to get your bachelor degree. So that's what we call our stackable credentials model. And you can read about it on our website and also on Nexford, on Nexford's YouTube channel. It's a pretty interesting model, and basically there's no additional cost for any of these badges that you're earning. The only criteria is really successfully completing the courses that actually trigger these badges. I'm going to post an example of these videos. So I'm going to post an example here on chat where you can take a look at the stackable credentials video on our YouTube channel. I think those were your questions, right? You asked about, I think there was a second part of your question. Sorry, I forgot what that is. Can you put it on chat? There was badges and yeah, sorry, I forgot the second part. If you can post it on chat, I'll answer it. All right, and we have another question from Francis. Go ahead, Francis. Francis?
Yeah, good evening.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to find out something. I have a challenge with my transcript, with my school, sending the transcript to your school. So I don't know, can I make payment while I still await my transcript?
Sure, thanks for the question. So the answer is yes. We have a option called AEP, which is admitted enrollment pending. What that means is we can admit you into the program based on unofficial documentation while you source the official documentation. We understand that some schools may take a very long time to get their documents in order. Especially during COVID, it could be more challenging. So yes, the short answer is you can apply and you can choose the AP option and go ahead and enroll while you get the pending documents. All right. Sorry, yes. Let me answer Idioma's second question, which was, if I take 2 courses simultaneously, will I pay the same tuition like every month? Yeah, so it's a great question, and it's a great advantage that Nexford offers. Yes, if you take 1 course at a time, say at an MBA level, you're going to pay $160 a month. If you take 2 courses at a time, you will still pay $160 a month. So what that means is, if you take 2 courses, effectively, the total cost of the program is going to be much less. If you take, say, 2 courses at a time, then you may be able to finish in 10 months. So you'll pay 10 times 160. So you'll pay $1,600 only. Whereas if you take 1 course at a time, you may take 20 months, so it will cost you double that, which is $3,200. So this is a major, I think, differentiator that Nexford offers to learners. All right. Vicky, would you like to go ahead? Vicky?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I came across a part that says if a learner gets about, I think, 3 C's in a core subject, in a core course, that the school will withdraw such a person. Now, my question is, what about those who are slow to learning? Are you trying to say there is no place in Nexford for such people? Is there no way the duration of their program can be increased, something like that?
Sure. Thanks for the question. So there's definitely room in Nexford for people who learn slower than others, and the model was designed to accommodate people depending on their own pace. So let me tell you examples of what we have to help people who may not be as fast as others. The issue of getting a C in a grade, a C in the courses, is not really a pace issue. Normally, if you're getting a C in a course, it's not as a result of your pace being slower than others. It's as a result of how effectively you've been able to show us mastery of competency, meaning whether or not you've been able to apply the skills that we're teaching. So what we do is we allow for course extensions. So if people need more time, you can request an extension of 2 weeks. And if you need even more time, you can request another extension. So ultimately, you'll be able to take 4 additional weeks to complete a course. Whereas the average course completion time and the standard one is 8 weeks, you'd be able to get up to 12 weeks to complete the course. So that's what we do for people who need more time. And again, the reason we only accept C as a minimum grade at an undergraduate level, and actually B is the minimum grade at a graduate level, is because we're a competency-based program. So competency-based means you've either mastered the competency or you haven't. And let me give you an example. Say in finance, so you're taking a finance course. You know, finance doesn't really have a lot of gray areas. If you're working on the balance sheet's either balanced or it's not. So we can't go to employers and say, yes, this is an Nexford graduate and they've achieved the competencies that we have, and then that employer give you work to do and find that you actually don't have the skills necessary to complete that work, which is why we hold our standards, you know, pretty high when it comes to minimum grades. All right, I think the Queen is with us. So Queen, would you like to ask your question?
Hi, Fadl, nice to meet you finally, getting to see you.
Thank you.
My question is, I got a mail that says something I have to get my school ID, online ID, like a virtual ID. But the mail said I was going to get it maybe via one of those mails. But up till now, I haven't gotten anything that seemed close to that, and I don't know how long I have to wait to get that.
Sure, thanks for your question. The simple answer to how long you have to wait, if you're already enrolled, you should not have to wait at all. If you're already enrolled, you should get your ID within the first few days from your enrollment. So the best thing for you to do is to email success@nexford.org, and an advisor will get back to you very quickly. You know, I would be surprised if it takes them more than a few hours to get back to you. Everyone that enrolls at Nexford gets an ISIC ID card, which you can use to show that you're enrolled in the university. And you can also use to get discounts at many, many retail outlets all across the world. All right, I see there's a question on chat again about DIAC accreditation. So I touched on that a bit earlier. So our DIAC application has been accepted about a month or 2 ago. We are going through the accreditation process right now. We expect to become accredited nationally by DIAC in Q1 of 2021. All right, let's take some other questions. So we have Dorothy, go ahead. Dorothy?
Hello, yeah, thanks for finally meeting you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
So I recently enrolled in Nexford University. I was expecting an acceptance letter, or probably what I'm ordinarily used to, or something that shows that, okay, this admission has been granted to you provisionally, or all your credentials are all completed, or you have this admission now, you know, as an MBA student, and I'm supposed to begin in August. I'm also meant to know that I'm supposed to run some foundation courses, like for 4 months. I don't know whether this foundation course is it applicable to everyone, because I did engineering from my for my BSc, right? So what I want to understand is, number one, I felt is just as the person asked for ID, I don't even know about ID. So I'm supposed to be expecting ID too, right? Then I was expecting a letter that confirms me as a student, not just a login detail, right? And then I also expected, if I'm running a foundation course, I didn't get anywhere where I was supposed to, maybe I'm talking about CV, you said something about submitting CV. So if I have a CV that covers the fact that I've run business, because I work as a business development person, right? So if I've worked in business line for a long time, probably for years, right? Do I still need to run the foundation course because I didn't do business administration in school? I don't have a problem running it, but for 4 months, what will I be learning? So yeah, that's my concern.
All right, thanks. So, again, to answer the foundations question, so, if you believe that you have the necessary prior business knowledge, which, should waive or predicate, you taking foundation courses, then you should email your documents and make a case basically to the admissions team. The admissions team will review your prior education and your work experience to determine whether you need to take foundation courses. Normally, those who've studied engineering will not have the necessary business foundation, and therefore they need to take the foundation courses. The foundation courses are varied, so you're going to be learning, things related to finance, to HR, to management, to marketing. So there's a lot to learn in 4 months. Having said that, like I said earlier, we, in addition to evaluating individual cases, we're also launching an individual assessment, which is called the PLA assessment. So if you would like to be part of the PLA pilot, then you can email admission. I'll just put the name here. So PLA pilot is what it's called. I put it on chat. You can tell admissions team that you attended this webinar, you learned about the PLA pilot, and you would like to take the test to see if you can waive the foundation courses, and they will share that test with you. With regards to the first part of your question, I didn't really understand it exactly. On the ID and the admissions letter, it's not clear to me if you're already admitted or not, but if you are admitted, then you'll have the letter. There's no way you can enroll without being admitted. So there is an admissions email that goes to every applicant that applies to Nexford, and you'll get that within 5 days, no longer. So if you haven't gotten it, that would be very surprising. And you can email admissions@Nexford, and they'll be able to respond to you right away. Normally you'll get a response within 24 hours, if not less than that. All right, let me just answer a quick question from chat. So I see, I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce your name completely, Okwechuku and Ludi, asking about CMI qualification at the end of MBA with Nexford. So do I get automatically CMI qualification? So yes, you can get CMI qualification. There is an additional fee, however, if you want to get the CMI qualification. If you pay that fee, then yes, you are able to get the CMI qualification upon completing your Nexford degree. Do we have a PhD in finance? No, we don't. All right, let me take another question from here. So we have Sunday. Sunday, would you like to go ahead? Sunday?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I already sent my question through the question and answer chat.
Oh.
I would like to ask, do you have plans of running Masters of Science program in the future, probably after the DIAC accreditation in Q1? And I'm currently a Nexford learner, and I have plans of concluding my MBA by the end of 2020 or latest January 2021. I have plans. I would like to use the MBA for a DBA or a PhD. Do you have plans of running a DBA or a PhD after the DIAC accreditation?
Thank you, Zanda.
That's my question.
Thank you for your question and for being an Nexford learner. So the first So the second question on the DBA and the PhD, we don't currently have concrete plans. What we're doing is we're constantly evaluating the demand from applicants and learners, as well as from employers. We're a very mission-driven university, so we also don't want to launch programs that appeal only to a very small segment of the world. However, there has been increasing demand recently for doctorate level programs. So, if I had to make a prediction, I would say yes, we will launch one at some point, but not over the coming 6 months. To your other question on Masters of Science, yes, so we actually have approval to launch a Master's in Technology Management and also a Bachelor of Science in Marketing. So we will be launching these in Q1 of next year, and then we'll be announcing our next degrees, which will most likely be a Master's in Data Science. All right. Let's answer some questions on chat. So an anonymous attendee asked about if I can't meet up with the tuition fee, will I be logged out of the portal? So yes, I mean, you need to pay the tuition fees in order to remain enrolled in the program. Having said that, we do have a program where we help people in financial, stress, under stress. So what I would suggest is, if you are in trouble financially or you're having challenges meeting the tuition fees, email our billings team. You can email them at billings@nexford.org and let them know what your challenge is, and they'll let you know what are the options that we have available, including some deferred tuition options that we have. We don't want to lose learners because they're going through financial troubles. So we do have a program where we can defer some tuition fees if needed. All right. Benjamin, would you like to go ahead? Benjamin?
Thank you. How do I call your name, please?
Fadl.
Fadl. Oh, thank you. All right. So I have a few questions, and I must say I'm thankful for the opportunity of Nexford coming to Nigeria. It's really a nice one for all of us who love learning. Okay, so how does Nexford support learners in order to get the best of learning under an American education? Okay, sometimes in the past I've had to do one or two things with Walden's University, okay, as a learning assistant for a PhD graduate. Okay, so how do you support learners in order to get the best of the MBA program? Okay, for instance, if at a point because I've been extensively reading about Nexford and all of what you intend to deliver. Okay, so if at some point and for some courses I can see that, okay, I'm having some form of lag, is there a way where a kind of a class can be organized for me to match up and then be able to deliver on the B requirements, which is Nexford standard? He said all of my courses must be at least B for an MBA program. Is there a way you help learners manage that, and such that by the time I'm doing the overall assessment for the 8-week period, okay, I'm having a B for Benjamin? So that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Benjamin. So, so definitely there's a lot of support to help our learners succeed. Ultimately, it's important for me to be very transparent in saying that, our success is completely derived from the success of our graduates. So, we don't succeed simply by enrolling people. Enrolling people is a means to an end. Ultimately, we measure our own success based on the outcomes of our graduates. So, the first step is enrollment. The second is completion. And then the third is, success post-completion. So we support through many ways. To be clear, this is not sort of a self-serve platform where you go and you read content and you're on your own. That's not how people learn. So, so basically we have, to start with, we have an orientation program that every new learner has to go through before you start with your first course. During that orientation program, you're going to be matched with a success advisor that's going to explain everything you need to know in order to succeed in the program. That's the first thing we do. The second is you're going to be matched with a success advisor. You'll know who that person is, and you'll be able to chat and schedule, time to speak with that person on Zoom or on, Microsoft Teams anytime you want, anytime you have questions, anytime you need support. And then the third is through our faculty. So again, so we have, faculty who will support you by answering any of your questions anytime, who run webinars as well, and who make themselves available in office hours, just like you would have traditional office hours in a campus-based environment, only a lot more flexible. Here, you can book office hours, and attend it online whenever you need to ask faculty questions whenever you have. So these are examples of how we support our learners. We also have a writing coach. So if you're having challenges, for instance, with writing style or developing the necessary English writing skills, you'll be able to book an appointment with a writing coach and again get that one-on-one mentorship with the writing coach. So there are multiple really support programs that we offer and support options. All right, let's ask. So I think Vicky. I'm gonna go ahead, Vicky. Vicky?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually a current Nexford learner, and I'm also a beneficiary of your scholarship scheme. I want to ask this question. For a country like Nigeria, where dollar rises by the hour, is there anything you can do for us? Because it seems our tuition keeps rising with the dollar.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. So, I mean, the short answer is we have already taken some measures recently. We have to keep in mind that the Nexford tuition is already, significantly lower than any other American university of comparable quality. Significantly, we're talking like 10 times less. So, we can't go down much more. Having said that, what we have done is we've recently launched an initiative in Nigeria. And those of you that are unaware of it can contact our local team or even the billings team, and they will be able to share details where we allow people to get a discount on the tuition fees if they pay them in advance in exchange for, and basically that's how we help with the foreign exchange issue. So I believe if you pay in advance 2 or 3 months, then you're able to get a certain percentage discounted off your tuition. So that then takes the exchange rate back to where it was pre-COVID days. Yeah, that's currently available for our learners in Nigeria specifically. All right. Bolotif, I'm sorry I mispronounced your name. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry, I'm sorry, everybody. Time difference. My name is Bolutif. Okay. Yeah, so I went through a catalog of the courses available on Nexford, and I came with a particular interest in mind in branding, and so I was only able to see a course, but I wanted to go for a certificate instead. So I wanted to know if there Nexford is looking at more creative courses or more art-specific courses, because I only saw marketing and most finance courses there. Is there anything you are doing to help that, so I can actually maybe calm down to register properly for a certificate?
Sure. Thank you. So, purely on the more creative courses, we don't have anything currently in terms of concrete plans. But we gather, like I said earlier, we gather all feedback from all learners, and that's how we come up with what are the new programs that we should be launching every year. So do let us know through help@nexford.org what are the programs that you're interested in. we'll definitely take that into account. I see a question here from Anudzi. On a scale of 1 to 10, how recognized is an MBA from Nexford to Nigerian employers? It's a great question, although I wish I had, a clear answer. A numerical answer is so difficult to answer that. If you go ask someone like, Sterling Bank, it's a 10. If you go ask, MTN, I'd say it's probably an 8 or 9. If you go ask, Dangote Foundation, it's probably, again, 8 or 9 or maybe 10. So it really depends who you ask. Some other employees, it may be 1. Like, not everyone has heard of us. We're a young university. We're building relationships with employers and with organizations. As you've probably seen, we've launched partnerships with the likes of Union Bank, with IBM, with many employers over the past months. And we're only going to be launching more and more as we move forward. I see another question from Mary. Vijay, please, when will you include monitoring and evaluation as one of your programs? I'm not sure what you mean by monitoring and evaluation, but we don't have a clear plan for that. I'm not sure what that discipline is, but our next programs will be launched in 2021. All right, I think we only have a few minutes left. So Dorothy, okay, let's answer this other question. Do you plan on offering postgraduate courses in areas such as international affairs and education in the near future? Education is one of the programs that's shortlisted based on demand. So it could be something that launches, however, not in the near future. We won't be launching new degrees this year. There's a long process that we have to go through to get any new degree approved by both HCLC and DIAC in the US. So by the licensing authority and accreditation authority, they have to approve our new degrees before we launch them. So we won't be launching new degrees until Q1 of next year. I see a question. Okay, would you like to speak? Go ahead, Okwachuku and Dudi.
Yeah, hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, now I just want to ask my question is along the lines of the accreditation. You already answered the first one. The other one is, I checked DIAC and I saw, yes, it's actually a national accreditation agency in the US, recognized by the US Department of Education and GA, which is good. But I understand also that it's national accreditation, and for regional universities, transfer of credit is not so easy when you have national accreditation. It's easier when you have regional accreditation. So my question is, why is Nexford going through national accreditation instead of regional accreditation? Or does it have anything to do with the distance education? Is it just because it's more of online and not on campus? So that's my question.
Sure, thank you. So there's 2 reasons. And this is my team won't like it that I'm giving you the real reason because it's slightly controversial. The first reason is the majority of regional accreditors are not as forward-thinking as the national accreditors. So they've been adopting these legacy systems for decades and decades now that have been using metrics to analyze, the performance of schools and the success of schools, which are not entirely aligned to the model that we have at Nexford. That's sort of my honest opinion of why we haven't started with the regionals. But then there's the practical answer as well, which is regional accreditors require, I believe, at least 3 years of operations before you can apply for them. So by going for national doesn't mean that we're not going to do regional. We could still decide to do regional if we wanted to, but meanwhile, we would become nationally accredited. Now, to your question on credit transfer, once you're nationally accredited, there are usually many ways to transfer your credits, whether directly or indirectly, to other universities in the US. You shouldn't have a challenge or difficulty in doing so. All right, let's take, maybe we're running a bit over time. Let's take some more questions. Maybe Bulutifi, sorry, again, I'm sure I mispronounced your name. Go ahead. Bolotife? Bolotife? Would you like to go ahead?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think that's a mistake. I'm so sorry about that. I shouldn't have raised my hand.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right. Let me answer this other question on chat. Is Nexford planning to have additional bachelor's and master's degree in their programs? Yes, we definitely are. Next year, we'll be launching at least 2 new programs, and then we'll be launching 2 or 3 new programs every year from there on. So definitely we'll have more bachelor and master's programs. DBA is under consideration, is not yet confirmed. However, the bachelor and master's programs are definitely launching next year, new ones. All right, let's take another question from Hanilu. Hanilu?
Yes, hello.
Go ahead.
I just want to ask if, because I'm from Philippines, so what about this? This is my first time on an online study to learn an online study. So what is the rate? Because it's dollar from Philippine money, and how can I avail the scholarship and also the BSBA major in marketing, and what is the requirements so I can enroll?
Sure, thank you. So the best thing is to go to the admissions page on our website, nexford.org. I'll put it here on chat. When you go to the admissions page, you'll be able to see the admissions requirements, and also tuition fees are customized to each market. So if you're in the Philippines, you'll be able to see the tuition fees in that market. Generally, our tuition at a graduate level ranges from $160 to $200 a month. At an undergraduate level, ranges from $80 to $120 a month. All right, let's take another question from Nisisong. Nisisong, go ahead.
Good evening from here. I'm currently Elena from Nigeria. I want to ask, how will they get connected with the students that we are starting together here? Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a bit. Do you mind maybe just place your question on chat? If you could place your question on chat, we'll answer it there. We couldn't hear you well. All right, let's take another question from Anozi. Anozi, would you like to go ahead?
Hello. Yeah, I just want to find out how relevant is this Nexford degree in Nigeria? Like, do Nigerian employers really regard it? Because I know it's an online program and it's fully online.
Okay. Thank you. So, I mean, I think the best way for that would be to ask, any of our learners in Nigeria. I think we have probably close to 1,000 learners in Nigeria. So we have a Facebook group which is run by Nexford learners and alumni. I invite you all to join that group. Look up Nexford on Facebook. You can ask each other questions there and get firsthand feedback from them. All right, maybe in Phoenix, would you like to ask your question? In Phoenix? Yes, go ahead in Phoenix. Okay, we can't hear you. Maybe just put your question on chat if you don't mind. All right, let's go back to these open questions. So what is the duration of the MBA program? I spoke a little bit about that earlier. We are a competency-based program. What that means is we allow people to progress in the program as fast as they want once they've shown us that they've mastered the competency. So you can finish your MBA, I would say, if you're fast-paced, you'll finish it in 12 months. if you're average paced, you'll finish it. If you're average paced, you'll finish it in about 18 months. But there's no minimum duration to complete the MBA. There's only a maximum duration. So the maximum duration per course is going to be about 10 weeks. So Christian asked a question, you know, once we're accredited, national accreditation is approved, will the tuition fee increase or will it remain the same? No, we definitely won't increase our tuition just as a result of national accreditation. We review our tuition fees on an annual basis, so there may be future increases. There likely will be future increases, minor increases, however, but we would never increase it just because we're nationally accredited. We are already an accredited university, just not nationally accredited in the US. All right. Olugbenga, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I want to find out, does Nexford University have affiliations with other universities? I mean, since you don't offer some doctorate programs now, I mean, I want to find out if there are schools that you have affiliations with that could admit graduates of Nexford for further programs in the now. Then I'd also want to find out if there are exemptions for people with certain professional certifications, like people who are chartered accountants or people who are CFA charter holders in the MBA program.
Yes, thanks. So the second part of your question, I mean, we do review people's prior knowledge and prior education to determine whether they can waive requirements for foundation courses specifically. So yes, we would look at, you know, if you have any certifications or that sort of thing, we would definitely look at those. Sorry, can you repeat the first part of your question again?
I'd like to find out if you have affiliations with other universities.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so right now we have affiliations with some universities, however, none in Nigeria. We have affiliations with universities in Asia currently. So we have some in Korea, we have in China, we have in the Philippines. But probably over the coming year, we'll be looking to launch more with other universities in other locations. All right, Francis, would you like to go ahead? Francis? Francis?
Hello, good
Yes,
evening.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to know the ranking, if I should use that word, ranking of Nexford University in the world ranking of universities. I think some of the persons were asking, they wanted to know the value of the certificate, the degree they are going to get after the program. So I think it's going to be related to knowing the ranking of the university. So I just wanted to know that.
Sure, thanks. So, I mean, given we only launched in 2019, we don't yet have ranking. Normally it takes about 2-3 years before you can start getting rankings. So I wouldn't wait. I mean, I wouldn't expect it before that. Having said that, back to my earlier point, I mean, are you familiar with, I wonder, I mean, are you familiar with how rankings are done in the first place? And the reason I ask is just I encourage you all to think more critically, because the reality is you have lots of universities that are ranked, but does anyone know what is the criteria to get ranked as a university? You know, there are many criteria that actually have nothing to do with the graduate outcomes. So, you know, when you come to look at the actual skills being taught or the relevance of the curriculum or how affordable the curriculum is, these are things that actually don't go into rankings directly. So at Nexford, while yes, of course, we want to get accredited by everyone, ranked and so forth, we're a bit more focused on the more modern, more innovative approach, the more forward-thinking approach of coming up with a new differentiated model, as opposed to trying to replicate what universities have been doing, for decades now. And yet, we are where we are with higher education around the world still being extremely expensive, unaffordable, ineffective, high unemployment. So clearly the current model hasn't been working. So Nexford is not here to replicate the current model. We're here to provide a new differentiated model. So unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. I know we're a bit over time. I'm sorry, we have still, I see, about 25 different open questions. I would encourage everyone to please send your questions. So I'm gonna put again, help@nexford.org. I put that email right here on chat. Please feel free to send your questions to help. We will make sure to answer every single one of them. I will contact the help team as well and ask them to send me any questions that I need to answer myself. Don't hold back. Whatever the question is, we're more than happy to answer it. Thank you all for joining today.